G'day, it's fugitive Australian journalist Shane Dowling from the website and YouTube channel Kangaroo Court of Australia. Now, I thought I'd just publish a quick video. A lot of people seem confused about the new hate speech laws which are passed the government last night, which is not surprising because even the government seemed confused. Now, I'm about to show you two videos. One's the Foreign Affairs Minister, Penny Wong. Another one is Attorney General Michelle Rowland trying to explain the new laws. But it seems the new laws, the hate speech laws, only apply to groups and members of those groups, so not individuals. So I'm not going to change anything I'm doing with my postings. I don't need to. And most social media users wouldn't need to either. Now, ultimately, we won't know exactly how the new laws work until someone's charged and it's tested in court. And that might happen soon with the Israeli President, Isaac Herzog, meant to visit Australia on the 7th of February 2026. So the new laws could potentially be tested in a couple of weeks from now. Now, I'll show you the videos in a second, but they both ask the same question. One's on Channel 9, the other's on the ABC 7:30 report, but they both use the same scenario of Israel committing genocide and whether that would breach the new laws. And that scenario is basically identical to a post I posted on X on the 15th of January. And I'll put that on screen now. It says, Dear Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, will the below T-shirt be legal under the new proposed hate speech laws? And it says on the T-shirt, Israel's genocide of Palestinians in Gaza has to stop. Now it's shared 473 times and liked over 1,000 times. So I wonder if the media got it from there. The first video is Penny Wong, the Foreign Affairs Minister, on Channel 9 today, the 21st of January 2026, and she ducks and weaves, so you can watch it yourself and make your own determination. But she says they're not trying to silence individuals, they're going after groups. Well, they were going after individuals until they removed the racial vilification offences, which were directly targeted at individuals. Anyhow, let's watch the video.
Now on Labor's hate crimes bill passing the Senate overnight. Joining me to discuss is Foreign Minister Penny Wong in Sydney. Senator, thanks for your time this morning. Appreciate it. Okay, the responsibility now rests with you, I think, to explain, 500 pages of this document to the Aussie public. As an example, if someone or a group says Israel engaged in genocide, will they be prosecuted now?
Can I start with what the legislation does? It does a number of things. Obviously, one of the things it does is it enables a minister to cancel and suspend visas of people who come to Australia to preach hatred. We have the gun legislation, which is toughening up the gun laws in the ways that I've described. In relation to the hate groups, what this legislation does is it enables a minister to determine and prescribe that a group is a hate group in accordance with the legislation. But that's not a political decision. That's a decision that is done on the advice of security agencies, and the Leader of the Opposition is briefed. So I just want to say to your viewers and to you, what we are trying to do is to crack down on groups who seek to incite hatred for the purposes of engaging in incitement and criminal activity. We're not seeking to crack down on people's difference of political debate.
So under the legislation, people will still be able, or groups will still be able to say that?
Well, I'm not going to get into it's not hypotheticals about what can and can't be said. I'm making a point about the way the legislation works.
Do you think people should be able to say that?
I don't believe that, the government's position is that the State of Israel has a right to exist, and we seek two states because that is the best way to ensure long-term peace and security for both Israelis and Palestinians.
All right. Senator, there's a lot to digest in all of this, and we appreciate you being on. Thank you.
Good to be with you.
Sarah.
Now, this next video is Attorney General Michelle Rowland on the ABC 7:30 report last night, the 20th of January 2026, and she wasn't much better. The laws had already passed the House, and they were about to be passed in the Senate, so she should have had her head right around the laws, but she was ducking and weaving too. And she says the courts can interpret the laws. Well, she can't, so how are the courts going to be able to, and how are the members of the public meant to be able to? Anyhow, I'll show you the video now.
The Attorney General, Michelle Rowland, joins me now from Canberra. Michelle Rowland, welcome to the program.
Good evening.
So can you clear up for us, under this hate speech bill, what will it take for an organisation to be banned?
Well, there are a series of criteria, but essentially they go to two factors. Firstly, there needs to be the type of conduct or threat of conduct And secondly, it needs to go towards harm, and it needs to be one that is scrutinised by our intelligence agencies, and there needs to be a recommendation to the responsible minister, in this case the minister responsible for the Australian Federal Police, but also there needs to also be scrutiny given by the Attorney-General as well.
Well, let's just go to what it means in practice. Would a group be banned if it accuses Israel of genocide or apartheid, and as a result, Jewish Australians do feel intimidated?
Well, there are a number of other factors that would need to be satisfied there. And what we seek to ensure with this legislation is that we give our investigative agencies like the AFP and also our intelligence agencies like ASIO the ability to be able to implement this law in a way that ensures that not only are we keeping Australians safe, but they are performing their responsibilities in terms of addressing anti-Semitism at its root causes.
Okay, but just coming back to the practical example though, if a group is suggesting that Israel is guilty of genocide, what other measures or factors would need to be met before they can be banned?
Well, under the provisions that are now before the Parliament, there would also need to be able to demonstrate that there are, for example, some aspects of state laws that deal with racial vilification that have been met as well. So the point I would make here, David, is that whilst these provisions have changed in response to the negotiations that have been undertaken with the opposition, they still represent a tight set of laws that can be implemented and are capable of interpretation, not only by a court, but also by our agencies.
Okay, but just to be clear, if a group is saying Israel is engaged in genocide, or they're saying Israel should no longer exist, that is not enough for that group to be banned?
Well, again, that would depend on the other evidence that is gathered, David. So I would be reluctant to be naming and ruling in and ruling out specific kinds of conduct that you are describing here.
But surely we all need to know what will be against the law. This matters in terms of what your law will mean. So what would it take for a group that's doing that to be banned?
No, it certainly does. And your viewers have every right to know what the scope of this is, and we have been clear from the outset about the kinds of groups that we are seeking to bring within this regime. This will include those groups that have so far managed to not do anything that is against the law or would otherwise attract criminal conduct provisions. So they are groups such as the National Socialist Network and HUT.
This is Hizb ut-Tahrir. So Hizb ut-Tahrir, as ASIO boss Mike Burgess has pointed out, typically condemns Israel and Jews, but has stopped short of promoting acts of violence here at least. So how would they be captured?
That is correct, David. It's because the threshold has been changed so that if there is that fear and if there is a reasonable person test in here as well, so if that is satisfied, then that would come within the scope of these provisions.
Okay, so this comes back to the question I was asking. If they are saying that Israel is engaged in genocide or condemning Israel, saying it shouldn't exist, and people, Jewish Australians, feel harassed or intimidated, they can be banned for that reason.
If those criteria are satisfied, then that is the case.
So you've got the Foreign Affairs Minister, Penny Wong, and the Attorney-General, Michelle Rowland, both ducking and weaving, not being able to explain the laws. They should have been able to give examples so the Australian public know exactly how they work. Like I said at the beginning, we're not going to really know how the new laws work until someone's charged and it's tested in court. But we should be able to know now. And with the Israeli president coming to Australia in a couple of weeks, well, the new laws might get tested then. But the bottom line is the new hate speech laws are targeted at groups, not individuals, so I won't be changing anything I do. And I'm an independent journalist and I'm 100% crowdfunded from viewers like yourself, and I've been running a campaign the last 8 weeks to make sure I can keep on doing the work I'm doing. I'll read that out to you. 8 weeks ago, I launched a campaign with a simple goal: find 200 new monthly supporters so I can keep doing this work as a fully independent journalist, running this website and YouTube channel without corporate backing or paywalls. Since then, 91 wonderful people have stepped up and become monthly supporters. That's huge, thank you. We're now at 109 to go. If you've been enjoying the work and aren't yet supporting monthly, I'd be incredibly grateful if you consider joining them. Here's the situation. Like most independent journalists, I'm basically a one-person small business. Right now, a lot of us are feeling the squeeze, just like many small businesses and households are. To stay afloat and keep bringing you the reporting I do, I need roughly 200 more people chipping in. Well, that's 109 now, whatever they can comfortably afford each month. Anything from $3 to $100 or whatever works for your budget makes a real difference. There's no lock-in and you can cancel or adjust any time. If that feels doable right now, you can see all the donation options on the donations page on my website, and there's a link for the donations page below this video on YouTube. Your support, whether it's a monthly donation or one-off donation or just sharing my work, is what keeps independent voices like this one alive. And please do your bit and help shine a light on corruption and share this video on social media. And please hit the like and subscribe button and notification button. That way you get notified when I publish new videos. Other than that, thank you for your time and have a good day.